No, got it. Good
Yeah,
idea.
we're here.
We did it.
Welcome to the Conscious Motherhood community. I'm so excited to be here. We had some technical problems getting on, but now we're here. And I'm so excited to be here with my guest, Anumeha Gupta. And if you're here with us and you see us live, or even if you're watching in the replay, let us know you're here. Say hi in the comments. I'm just going to take a second and get all my screens and everything set up so I can see what's going on. And I can see if you're here in the comments. But I'm so excited to be having this conversation here in our community. So I really want to introduce you and introduce my
Yeah.
guest. This is, do you have something you want to tell
Leora,
me?
just 1 second. Do you want to record this meeting?
It's being recorded into the group, so that's
Oh,
okay.
that's okay. Okay, great.
Yeah. Thanks for checking in with me. So this is my guest. This is Anumeha Gupta. She's an intuitive Ayurvedic health counselor. She's a yoga teacher and a tarot card reader. And she does the sacred work with moms to identify the barriers to their wellness and help them get out of their own way so that they can really thrive in their relationships. And she studied Ayurveda with Dr. Jay Apte, as well as Mother Maya's a Vedic monk. And she is knowledgeable in both diagnostic and spiritual aspects of Ayurveda. She's a yoga teacher and she teaches transformational workshops and consultations to help moms implement holistic tools to overcome past traumas, anxiety, depression, and anger so that they can reclaim their energy and show up fully in the workplace and for their families. And I know, Anu, that you live in Santa Clara, California with your family,
Yes.
and that you do tarot card readings, and you're also a comedian, a stand-up comedian, which I love.
Yes.
And so welcome. I'm so glad to have you here in our community.
Thanks, Leora. I'm also very excited to be here and to be with you and beautiful moms.
I'm really excited for what you're going to share with the moms in our community, because I know that you have such a different perspective than what I've been able to bring to these women. So you help moms who feel out of balance and overwhelmed and who are experiencing a lot of anger to release their rage and find calm so that they can really have deep relationships with the people they love and be the kind of moms that they want to be. Can you tell us a little bit how you came to be doing that work?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a mom myself. I have 2 children. And since my son was born, I noticed that I had a very disconnected relationship with him. And I remember once, I think he was around 7 years old when he refused to turn off the iPad. And I kept repeatedly asking him to turn it off, turn it off. He just didn't listen. And I remember walking from my room to his room all the time, having this tiny voice in my head tell me, "You're not doing your job as a mom. Look how much screen he's watching." We all moms know this voice so well.
So many moms can relate. If you're watching and you can relate to that, like, they didn't turn off the screen and I'm doing it wrong, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. And then I walked with this voice, and when I reached his room, I just picked up the iPad and I threw it on the bed, right? And to my dismay, it bounced off the bed and fell on the floor. It didn't, it stopped working, but it didn't break, thankfully. But that's when, of course, my son was crying. Now my daughter is crying because she heard everything. And now I went to my room and I'm crying. And I'm like, why do I get so angry? And then I feel so guilty.
Yeah.
And it's a vicious cycle, because if you remember, when I was walking, I had that guilt. So the guilt, the anger, guilt, it just keeps multiplying. And I felt so disconnected with my son and not with my daughter. And I was curious, why is it more of my son? And then I drew patterns and noticed, no, I'm not just disconnected with my son. It's my husband. It's my father. I have something against men.
Wow. Wow, that's a big realization to have.
Yeah. And then when I started a mom's group, and I was also counseling moms because I'm into Ayurveda. And I find a lot of the moms who come to me, they are also harboring these feelings towards men.
Wow.
And I was like, what's going on? There's something deeper. And as I studied from Vedic monk Maya Tiwari's school, and she has written several books. And I went deeper and I understood that we are carrying this trauma from our ancestors. Millennial ago, women, the patriarchy came into power, right?
Yeah,
And now
I'm getting chills listening to you. Like, this
Right?
is such important stuff you're bringing for us.
Right. So what happened is, because of the patriarchy, the women are now subjugated and abused and whatever happened to women. And they took in all that trauma and they held it in their womb. And now with every child that is born, that trauma is passed on.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, not just to the girl child, but also to the boy child. We are all coming from such wombs. So when I get angry with my husband, with my son, it's not just me getting angry. All the women who came before me, it's their anger that I bring, right? So this is one thing I realized. Now let's look at what anger does to us women.
Can I interrupt you for a second before you get to what anger does to us women?
Yeah.
I mean, that feels like a heavy thing to carry, right? To carry, like, this is generational trauma that I'm holding on to, of, you know, what all women have been subjugated to, and that I might have that kind of anger towards males in my life. What did you do with that realization?
What did I do? So first it gave me relief.
Yeah.
That I'm not alone and I'm not crazy. I used to think I'm a crazy mom. I remember I went to a therapist over here, and she also told me that, oh, you get so angry? That's wrong. Next time you get so angry, she said, I will report you if you get so angry. She told me that, imagine, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So I could not find help anywhere. I had to keep it to myself. And then it was a relief to understand it's not me. This is not me.
Yeah, you speaking to that, like, you know, people have to keep it to themselves, that feeling like I can't tell anyone how angry I am, that really lands for me too. Because I'm remembering a moment when about 6 years ago, when I got so angry, and I don't even remember why. My kids were so little, like 2 and 3, or I don't know, something like that, that I slammed my cell phone on the table and it cracked. And you look at it and you're like, I could see like the impact of my anger, and you just don't know what to do. It feels scary. It feels like, you feel guilty, like you said, but you don't want to talk about it. People don't want to hear it, or that you're afraid they're going to blame you. And so I'm really happy that we can be having this conversation in this community, so that if there are moms here in the community, I'm sure there are, because there's more than 750 of us here, that are experiencing this kind of anger or rage, that you're not alone, that it might not even be yours. It might be generational trauma that you're holding on to, and that that there are things that you can do, because Anu is going to give us some tips. But you said you wanted to continue and talk about why women, what this anger is doing to us as women.
Yeah, totally. So when we hold anger, like you were so angry, you slammed that phone down. But when you felt that anger inside you, what does it do? It affects your cells, your tissues, right? Creates a heat. You start feeling really hot.
Yeah, I feel heat rising up to my cheeks. Yeah.
Right. So if we keep getting angry, it's going to finally result in some health issues, which will spring up later, and we will not realize when they started. So it's like there's a story where you pick up a burning hot stone to throw at someone because you're so angry, but that stone burns you first, right? So now I understood I have this anger from before. And I also understood that I have been brought up to believe I'm a victim.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, totally. So I was brought up in India, and all my history books talk about the British invasion of India and how we were a very prosperous country and the British kind of ruined everything for us. Okay. Why am I being brought up thinking I'm a victim? And I'm a victim to men in my life also, because always being told you can't do this, boys can do it, you can't do this, not
Yeah.
safe for you. So I have been fed a diet of victimhood.
Yeah.
And imagine when we feel like a victim, what does it do to us? We become angry again.
Yeah. This is so powerful what you're bringing here, Anu, because, you're speaking to your experience as an Indian girl growing up in India, but even,
Right.
As women and girls growing up in America, we think we have, equality and gender equity, but, all the moms that I speak to feel like it's not fair. It's not, that's what it is. That feeling of I'm the victim of, I do it all. I have to do it all. My husband gets to go off to work and, he doesn't hold all the mental load of everything that needs to be done, right? Still feeling like you don't get to be a full expression of who you are in the world. And so, even you're feeling that like so powerfully because you're like, this is what I grew up on, like the history of India and as a girl in India. But that's pervasive even in the Western world as well.
Nice. That's I like your opinion and your perspective that you're sharing. So when we go to the ancient texts of India and the work of Maya Tiwari, the Vedic monk, I found out that women are not equal to men. Women are superior somewhere, more powerful, because we've been given this power to create life. And men have a very important role in our life. And the more we heal ourselves and do our inner work, we come out of the victim mode and we see men for the beauty and the role they play in our life. And now we are not competing with them at all. There is no competition. Each of us is important. So understanding that I'm not the victim and that I'm very powerful itself reduces the anger.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Ask me another question.
Well, tell me, why you're so passionate about helping moms specifically. We heard your story, and I know that you work specifically with moms. You're an Ayurvedic health counselor. And so why are you so passionate about working with moms?
Because I feel like my own journey was from being so disconnected with my son. And now I enjoy a very beautiful relationship with him. Yeah. And I feel like every mom deserves to enjoy this kind of relationship. And every child deserves.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. My child did not smile for the longest time. Even in school, the teacher used to ask me, why is he not smiling? Why is he so serious? I knew, but I didn't know what to do about it. And now I really tell you, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And, it speaks to me too, as a coach who coaches moms, that I feel like, I want this for all moms, but I really want this also for all the kids, because, if we walk around as moms feeling like we're a victim, if we walk around holding on to anger and expressing that anger and guilt and all of that, who's the one who's paying the price? It's not just us. It is us, right? With our health issues that come up from the anger that we're holding inside and all of that, but it's also our kids. It's our kids. And so exactly what you're saying, I can't echo you enough, Anu, that like when you do the work, when you do your own inner work, when you get support for your health issues and you realize that actually this is a deeper issue of all the anger that you're holding on inside or whatever it is for you, when you do that healing work, then your whole family benefits from it. Your kids benefit from it. And that's why I'm so with you on that. Tell me, so can you give us a tip for moms who might be experiencing some of these things that we're talking about, who might feel like, they have rage like I experienced and like you experienced, or they feel guilty for the ways that they're reacting to their kids, or, what would you say to someone? What could they do? Because I know that I felt helpless. I felt like I needed to hide it. It wasn't even something that I went to talk to anyone about. It was just like, oh my God, if people knew that I was yelling like this, if people knew that I smashed my cell phone, oh my God. So what would you
Right.
say to someone who's experiencing that right now?
So first of all, I would say you're not crazy.
Mm,
There are so many women going through this. And it is much bigger than what we feel. It's not us. It's coming from back behind, okay? And I would say when we get angry, to extract the message.
Tell me more about that.
So when I got really angry and I threw that the iPad down,
Yeah.
the reason was because I was feeling very guilty as a mom. And when I explored that, I found out I was feeling really guilty because I had not been cooking food at home that whole week. And we'd been getting takeouts every day. And that had actually started me on that guilt trip. And the message for me was, it's really important for me to be able to cook some fresh food for my kids.
Yeah. I'm hearing you saying like you're walking around with all this guilt from other ways that you're showing up. And then you don't even know that you're carrying all that guilt until it like explodes as anger at your kids. And so you're like, okay, get curious. What's the message? What was underneath? The anger is not random. That's what I'm hearing you say. Is that right?
Exactly. There's a message in that anger. It's a messenger.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead,
No, go ahead.
Leora. And
Go
then
ahead.
once I realized, okay, this is what is important to me, that day itself, I will take action. Whatever has happened in the past has happened. But today is in my hands and I will cook a meal.
Wow. So it's like you got curious, you looked for the mess, and the anger is the messenger. You looked for the message, and then from the message, you're like, I can take action from that.
Exactly. That is very important because sometimes we get stuck in the message and now it's on loop in our brain and we feel our energy is lost. We feel tired. We feel like losers. It's very important to take that action after that.
That to me feels so empowering, right? It's like the exact opposite of being in the guilt and being in the anger or being dragged, judging yourself and then getting in the exhaustion that you're talking about. Instead of that, it's like, oh, this is the message and I get to take action. How empowering is that? That's the shift right there.
Exactly.
I love
and
that.
that's why I love all the work you do with moms, because you're also working with a lot of mindset.
Yeah, I
right?
do.
Mindset coaching, so important. And if we can have a coach we can share with freely, just like your clients do with you, how precious is that? Like, I wish I had someone like you when my kids were younger.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that, I love what you're saying because it's, so many women. And if we have one message that we can get across to the women in this community, I think, what you said to start out with, you're not alone. You're not the only one. You don't have to go through it and feel like something's wrong with you or feel guilty or feel like you have to hide if you're losing your temper or you're angry. There are people like Anu, like myself, who have experienced what you've experienced and have tools and steps for you to really create a shift and a transformation for yourself so that you don't stay stuck in that anger. I know that you have a free gift you wanted to offer people. Yeah, want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So I do have a freebie. It gives like 3 steps you could do on your own to release the anger. One is on breathing, like how you can do the breath work. The other is again about anger as a message. And the third one is about releasing these negative thoughts by journaling. So it's all on a nice 1-page handout, which you can maybe print and keep near you.
Okay, so I'm going to pop that link in the comments here. This is a free gift from Anu of 3 tips to release rage. And you can work through this worksheet on your own, and you can, get some insight into some of the things we've been talking about in terms of, how to see the message in your anger and some of those things, which are really going to help you see that for yourself. And, what I feel like is really important to say is that I know that we all deserve to be supported. I just want to really put a stake in the ground for moms who are experiencing this kind of rage to not have to do it, to not have to handle it, to not have to figure it out by themselves. So even though you have this beautiful freebie from Anu, tell me what, if there are moms here who are looking to really get out of this experience of being enraged and they don't want to feel stuck in their anger. Can you share, what could be their next step to getting some support?
Yeah, sure. So I work with moms all the time, and you can book a 30-minute discovery call with me. It's called the Balanced Mom Breakthrough Call. And in this call, I understand what's going on with you. What is your biggest challenge right now? And what is your vision for yourself? And then we discuss and come up with your next step. What can be your next step? And I share how Ayurveda can support you in your journey.
Wow. So I'm going to put that link here for people to book a free Balanced Mom Breakthrough Call with you. And can you tell us, like, before we close, would you be able to share, maybe a story of one of your clients or something of how Ayurveda has helped them to work through these?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So one of the signs that you're carrying the trauma, ancestral trauma, is when you have disconnection with men, right, in your life. And the other sign is where we are disconnected with our own mother. That is also a common theme with the clients who come to me. So I'm going to share the story of one client of mine who spent, I think, at least 6 hours just crying. She took these calls with me and she was only crying. And she's around 40 years old. And she had lived 40 years of her life feeling like her mom didn't love her enough, being the victim, right? And as we work through it, a lot of my work is actually holding space for clients. And work through it. And then we did some womb work because we hold this in our womb. And for her to recognize that her mom is also carrying trauma from her mom.
Yeah, that's
right?
so powerful. Yeah.
So powerful to see her mom as suffering, not as a perpetrator.
Yeah, it's
a victim.
That's so healing because it's like first you see yourself as the victim and then you want to blame someone else or you blame your mom, but my mom is also a victim of this thing that we're carrying. Yeah. Wow.
Right. And then, oh my gosh, when we did the womb work, it's a womb meditation and the womb carries messages for us. It's a portal. So she connected with the womb and the message that came from the womb was, dear, don't feel so sad about not being loved enough. When you were in your mother's womb, your mother tried to connect with you when you were in the womb, and your soul told her, Mom, I need to have penance. I need to do a penance in this lifetime for which I need to have a mom who doesn't connect with me. That's the purpose of my life. You need to stay away.
Wow.
That's it. This girl just started crying again. But this time it was different. And things have just transformed for her. And she has a daughter, mind you, she has a daughter. And when we do work on ourselves, it benefits our ancestors and our future generations.
Yeah.
How
100%.
powerful is that, right?
100%. I couldn't agree with you more that when she's doing this healing work, she gets to stop passing on this generational trauma that her mother, didn't choose to pass on to her. And she gets to stop that chain, right? And create something new. Wow, so powerful. So I want to thank you for being here and I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom. And I want to encourage anyone who this is resonating with to really reach out. And we put the link here for a free Balanced Mom Breakthrough Call with Anu. And if you want to really get some holistic tools and be supported in releasing the anger, then I'm going to encourage you to take her up on this free session and really get clear on what your next step might be. You deserve to be supported. So thank you so much for being here, Anu, and sharing your wisdom. And I'm really excited to have you here in the Conscious Motherhood community.
Thanks, Leora. Me too. I'm very glad to be here, and this was such a divine call, I felt.
Thank you. All right, lovely women of the Conscious Motherhood community. We will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.